Hey everyone, if you like our content and want to help us grow our channel, you can support us on Patreon, where you also get exclusive behind the scenes content. Otherwise, follow us on these social media platforms where you can help support us. A little goes a long way. Enjoy the rest of this video. Good evening everybody, and we're going to be talking about the Somogear PEQ15 replica today. You've seen the unboxing, let's get into it. So the PEQ15 is one of the most replicated laser units in the airsoft industry. You know, what makes the Somogear stand out from the rest? So we have a couple of points here. First thing, it is a UHP model. A lot of other brands out there don't actually mean what they say when it meant ultra high powered. So this particular unit is quite insane. It is the first replica that I've come across to actually feature such a high power. We're looking at about 20 milliwatts on the visible laser as well as the IR laser. And with the Illuminator, you're looking at 60 milliwatts. Now, the Illuminator itself is also focusable, which brings it to a beam when it's fully focused in. So you're essentially getting a 60 milliwatt beam, which is pretty insane in my opinion. Now, the second best thing about this is it does feature co-align with the visible and IR laser. What that means is when you dial in that visible laser and zero it in, you're going to get the same results with that IR laser. Now, Somogear has stated on their website that it is co-aligned to about 30 meters with about 10 centimeters of difference. We're going to put that to the test. And for the third, and one of the most impressive thing actually, is this particular unit actually features a mil-spec crane plug. Now, what that means is, you know, with all the other replicas thus far in the airsoft industry, they all featured something like a 3.5 mil or a 2.5 mil, which, you know, doesn't exist in the real PEQ15. Now, you have a lot of airsoft switches that are made, especially dual switches that are made for these units, but they're only for airsoft. So we all know that the airsoft switches don't tend to last, especially when it comes to the dual switches. And if you wanted to buy a real one and put it on, you couldn't, because the real ones run a crane plug system. Now with the Somogear, you could do that, which is a big step up for airsofters around the world. So if you are running, let's say, a Surefire, and you wanted to run that dual switch with the laser unit, you can now put a real one on, because now it features a crane plug. So this is with the latest generation of the PEQ15. Last but not least, we'll go into that further on, but Somogear has been quite impressive with their after sales and warranty. So before, so this particular unit is sponsored, but before I was sponsored this particular unit, I did purchase a couple of the other units, and same with my friends as well. And I can only say that the support that we receive and the after sales that we receive was just insane. And from their own words is they wanted to be somewhat like Holosun. They wanted to step up their game in the industry, and I really respect that. So we'll go further on into that later on, but this particular unit features essentially a visible laser, a IR laser, as well as an IR illuminator. For those that don't know what IR stands for, it's infrared. But let's get into it, and let's check out the visible laser first. So we're gonna, you know, take that into the car park and test it for about 60 meters in daylight, and see how that green laser, that green visible laser fares. And we're gonna put it to the test with a couple of other units that are in the industry currently, different brands out there, and let's take a look. You know, just to show the difference in visible laser. Meters on that wall. This is with the low setting, And once again, we'll switch it back. This is the high setting. So difference is quite huge. So in this second test that we'll be doing, we will be zeroing it in for about 35 meters, and we're just gonna shoot it and see what the grouping's like. Then we're gonna test to see if it actually holds zero on a gas blowback rifle, and we're gonna do, I think, about 4 to 5 mag dumps on full auto and semi, and retest it again to see if it actually held zero and see if those groupings stay true. These are the 5 shots. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 up here and 1 on that corner side here. Let's see if it can hold zero on a gas blowback.
Well.
Alright, let's look back. Let's put back on. Just marking the triangles. 1, 2, 3. Looks like 2 entries here. There's a big rip, could be that as well. We're going to also test the coa line on the IR laser on that same 35 meters to see if it makes any difference. Okay, so we're here. The light's off. We're going to try with the psionics. Down the bullseye, first shot. Shots. Let's go check it out. It was landing around here, 3 shots down here, and 2 shots down here. So these 2 could potentially be, somewhat flyers, but essentially we're getting that grouping that's somewhat a little bit away. So I would say about that much in terms of deviation. So in terms of coa line, it is pretty good for about 35 meters out. So let's take it on a further range to test it, and we're going to compare it with a real DBAL i2, that's an IR, and show you the comparisons between the IR laser as well as the IR Illuminator. We've got the DBAL here, and we've got the PEQ. These are both on low laser settings. The DBAL on the left and the PEQ on the right. So this is the DBAL completely defocused and the PEQ completely defocused as well. So we've seen the PEQ completely focused in. Let's show you the DBAL completely focused in. So this is the DBAL completely defocus, and this is with the Illuminator completely focused in. This is the Illuminator focus, and this is the Illuminator on the PEQ defocus. Major difference there. Illuminator and laser on high, same as the PEQ. And this is the Illuminator defocus on the PEQ, and the Illuminator on the DBAL is completely focused in. We can see even on 300-400 meters, the DBAL doesn't reach that far, except for the laser. When you push it up a notch above that 0, you go into programming mode. So what that stands for is you're programming that Illuminator for pulse rate. So to set the pulse rate, essentially you put the selector onto P, and when it's on P, holding down the button or on your switch, you see an orange light, and without letting go of that, you turn it up to your desired mode, and letting go, you see the orange light flash twice, and that set the pulse rate to the desired mode. So we'll set it onto IRAL. That essentially is 0 pulse per second. So what that means is it's not going to pulse, it's going to be a constant on Illuminator. Now to change it, you would have to put it back onto P, hold down the button, and move it to your new selection, let go, it's going to flash twice, and now we'll set the pulse rate to 1 pulse per second on IRDL position. And once again, I'm going to set it to 2 pulse per second on IRAH. We're going to hold down the button, see that orange light, I'm going to swap it to IRAH, release, and now it's set to 2 pulse per second. On this particular mode, it goes up to 4 pulses per second, and on the last setting, 8 pulses per second. So if we want to set it back to no pulse, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to put it back to P mode, hold it down, see that orange light, flick it to IRAL, let go, flashes twice, and we'll set to no pulse again. Now, usage in Airsoft. What would you use it in? So personally, if I'm running a monocle, I would definitely recommend one of these units, because without a IR laser of some sort, you won't be able to aim down a monocle. We'll cover that in a different video, but essentially using an optic on a monocle actually blocks half of your vision away. So having one of these these units in IR really helps a lot. Now, in terms of running the IR Illuminator, you do need a bit of range because it is fairly high powered, even if it's completely defocused out, as you guys can see in a previous video, but it would be excellent for field use. So we're talking about, trying to spot, let's say incoming players that are about 200 or 300 meters out. You see it very, very clearly with this, especially on the night vision. Now with the visible laser, on the other hand, it is excellent even for daytime use because it is very high powered, but different fields have different rules, so make sure you check that before getting this high-powered units. But otherwise, I think it's excellent when it comes to field use outdoors because that ultra-high-powered really helps. Most units, on the other hand, you wouldn't be able to use it in daytime. You wouldn't be able to see it, or in terms of IR capabilities, you might not even see it past, let's say, 50 meters out with the Illuminator. So, outdoor use, field use, excellent, especially for Airsoft. So last but not least, we talked about the after-sales support and warranty. So this particular unit is sponsored once again by Somogear, but they don't control what I say. And before they actually supplied this to me, I was a customer. So very great because I don't know if you guys saw some of my posts and videos at the CQBL and whatnot, and we actually purchased an NGAL as well. So we had some issues, and Somogear was always quick to respond, quick to find out how we can solve it without sending it back, and if worse, we sent it back. Now they provided very quick service, and the solution was almost immediate, and we managed to get a second unit, and it was really great. I was just mind blown by a customer service from such a new company. Usually with airsoft brands, we don't really see that. It's a bit sad to say, but so far my experience with them has been superb. Now, in conclusion to this particular video, we saw all the advantages that the Somogear PEQ15 had over the competitors. You know, things like the SOTAC, the GNP, the I think Watson or Element, and even the real Steiner Optics DBAL I2. So very impressive, and it is such a breakthrough for the airsoft community to have a replica that actually takes the crane plug unit, because by far I haven't seen a replica that takes that. So if you wanted to use a crane plug system, you would actually have to invest for a real unit. And to me, that's impressive by Somogear, and I think we really have to say thank you to them in this particular aspect. So the next thing would be it can withstand gas blowbacks. It is co-aligned, so if you're using night vision, then it's brilliant, because you could just zero that in the daytime with the visible laser and just not worry about it at night, because we all know that trying to zero IR laser is such a pain, especially with just night vision. So overall, I think this is a really great unit, and I really endorse it, to be honest. And if you have any issues, you know, don't worry to speak out to the manufacturer about it, and I'm pretty sure they will help sort you out. Now, I'm really looking forward to the DBAL Gen 3, and we will be doing another review on the we'll be doing a review on the PERS 4 replica, which we have been delaying for a while. And with that particular unit, I had some initial issues with the with the unit intermittently turning off and turning on. It has been fixed, and it was a simple solution, and it works perfectly now. So stay tuned for that video. Now, for those who have looked into you know, the real units of the LA5C UHP, or even a real PEQ15, we all know that, you know, these are going to cost you about, I think the UHP model costs about $2,000 US or more. And this particular units are also ITAR, which means, and I think military only. So even if you're in the US, trying to source one of these, trying to get a hold of one of these is going to be quite hard, let alone people outside the US. So if you are wanting to get a laser unit that is you know, remotely as good, or even that takes the crane plug, you'll be looking at about $1,000 US at minimum, and with the ultra high power versions, much more. So once again, very impressive, very impressive from Somogear, and
You finish on
I finish it
finishing
on.
on
We're finishing on. So this is Nonocat, and that's on the spear. We'll see you in the next video. One of them. This particular UHP model stands for ultra high power. Unlike the other brands out there, it doesn't really, you know, say what they mean. Doesn't mean what they say. Wow, that was so bad. Doesn't say what they mean. Okay, doesn't mean. As you guys can see, this is, you know, they really mean what they say when they meant. With, you know, a bit of a twist and, you know, for somewhat forcing it, it actually worked. So it is great. I don't know what I'm talking about. Fuck that one up. High powered, as it states. So the Illuminator itself could go up to about 60 milliwatts. Insane. Now let's redo that.
Yeah.